Okay guys, quick update on the major markets. We're breaking to new highs as we speak. Obviously none of us believe that the S&P should be at 2873. It should be at around 61.8, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Okay, so me and Wave 618, we've got together. We're going to do a weekly newsletter from now on, every Saturday, once a week. We don't have time to do it twice a week, and frankly, the more times you do it, the more it's going to present more and more challenges, not just time, but actually just going back and forth through the same thing. So we'd rather leave it at once a week. We want this to be a frame of reference, essentially, for traders, investors, people who want to learn about what's really going on in the world, because the major mainstream media, they're not going to tell you. So I can appreciate my paid group is more of a premium personalized service, so it's not for everyone, and at the same time we don't always get the time to do YouTube videos, and on Twitter we are very much limited by occasional spontaneous tweets and the character limit. So I'm hoping this newsletter will be very useful to a lot of people. So it's the first time that we're doing it. Every week both of us will cover crypto. We'll give our own opinions. This week Wave 618 is going to be covering gold, and he'll be doing an educational TA lesson on Pitchfork. So every week there will be a lesson on TA. I mean, I could go on and on just on TA, frankly. Next week I'll be covering a certain indicator which I haven't mentioned to you guys yet. This is the little snippet off the first page, so the Dow to 40,000 crash. So we're working on this right now, and I'll also cover the Nasdaq as well. I want to start bringing in some fundamental theory discussions. Should be an N in there. I'm going to start bringing in some fundamentals. So things like what is a bond, interest rates, inflation, the yield curve, the dollar index, what's happening in emerging markets right now. I'm going to hopefully try to bring some of that into it as well. And I want to also cover one of the laws each week from my 10 laws of engagement video. So if you've not seen that, just flick through my videos, and it's the third to last one. I want to go through that as well, because all of these principles that we're teaching they're not mutually exclusive. They're all intertwined. Sort of wealth creation, how to preserve capital, protect capital, grow capital, how to trade, how to invest, psychology. Really, all of these principles are very much aligned. We're going to have a chart of the week, and we're going to have a fancy quote of the week as well. So there's plenty to cover here just in this Saturday's video. And as I said, it's always good to get different opinions, and I think Wave 618 does a really good job. His TA is slightly different to mine, but we agree on generally quite a few things, such as gold, such as Bitcoin long-term count, and the state of the stock market. So I'm hoping people will find this useful. And as I said, because we're pushing into September now towards Christmas, things are going to get very, very volatile. Won't always get the time to do a YouTube video. And as I said, I can appreciate the group is more of a premium personalized service. So we're hoping to kind of meet people in between here with this service. So we're only going to take 10 sign-ups so far. I think 5 have signed up from Twitter since I put out the tweet a few hours ago. So there's 5 spots left. This is just for auditing purposes. The price is the same. So if you're from the UK and from the EU, just click here. And if you're from the rest of the world, i.e. non-UK and non-EU, just click here. It'll be sent to the PayPal email address, unless you want me to send it to a different address, in which case I'll change it. And obviously it's a weekly subscription, so for any time you're not happy with it, you can just cancel, and usual terms and conditions apply, not financial advice, blah blah blah. So this is kind of what we're looking at here. So we're going to be covering all of these things, and as I said, a snapshot once a week sort of update, I think a lot of people would be happy with that, and I think that would be very, very useful, because I certainly have a lot more to share with you guys. I mean, obviously with the group we cover quite a few different things. We do educational webinars, I did a live trading webinar just a few days ago. We covered the bond market and what's going on with the yield curve and the Minsky moment, but I don't always get the time to produce that on the YouTube side of things. So as I said, we're hoping this is gonna really kick off, and obviously we'll get feedback from the 10 people who do sign up, and then we'll figure out where to improve. As you can see, we're not fancy designers here. You know, our job is not to design something that's all nice and fancy. Anyone too clean is usually dirty in my experience anyway, so you got to watch out for that. But I'm sure we can commission some little kid on Fiverr or something to make me a fancy webinar template or a newsletter template. But anyway, that's what we have lined up, so I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's good on a Saturday because that's the day when I go through all my trades, and that's the day I can really assess the markets, because all the markets have closed, and then you've got all the weekly candles. You might even have a monthly candle in there, and so you can really assess what's going on. Sending a newsletter twice a week, it's not gonna work. I mean, not least because of the fact we don't have the time, but you'll just get differing opinions. So really, end of the week, once a week is probably the way to go. Obviously in the future we can collaborate with other people, and maybe change it to twice a week, I don't know, but for right now that'll be the format. As I said, we're only going to invite 10 people on so far, just so we can get an idea of what the feedback is, and then obviously we can start to increase that. But that's what we have lined up, so if you guys are interested, have a look. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it, especially down to 40k and crash. I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Okay, let's make sure we're still recording here. So let's quickly run through a few things. I've not really planned any of this. So my count on the SPX was all of this mess here. So let's just go into it. We're making this sort of ending diagonal, either fifth wave or it's a B wave. However way you cut it, we're going to end up at 2,500 on the S&P pretty soon. So we are due for a big sell-off here. I wouldn't be too fooled by this rally to new highs. So I think we've made new highs literally as we speak. So everyone's just going to be looking for a short. Now obviously you don't want to short this right now. The daily is pretty strong, but sooner or later this is going to roll over. So maybe in another couple of weeks or so. But I'm running all of that as an ending diagonal wave 5, or a wave B, so A, B, C, D, E. So yeah, that's that. So if I just take this off, and then if you just project your fibs from this low, which is here. Oh my god, will you please click? There you go. So this low to this low, and that's an ABC running flat. So your 61.8 is here, your 1-to-1 is at 2,956, and your 786 is there. So likely some of these fib targets, if not all of them, are going to get hit. So we're approaching the end now of this this fake bull market that we've had. So another 2.5% max, but people are going to be looking for shorts here very, very soon. The VIX is just making a higher low. There's no way you're going to see less than 10 on the VIX now for a very, very long time. It's been basing. It did its spring, and now it's going up. This is just a higher low. So you want to be watching out for the VIX here to give you some sort of signal that volatility is about to come back. September is the most volatile month of the year, and October. So this is just going to make a higher low and then make its way up. DJT usually gives us a heads up as to what's going to happen. This is still going higher, which is fine, so let it go higher, but eventually we are going to get a signal here to go short from the DJT. We got a similar thing here where DJT started to produce red candles before the Dow did, so it gives you a bit of a heads up. Right now it is green, but you want to be watching this to get your signal. The Dow, yeah, can the Dow make it to new highs? I mean, the Dow's kind of lagging a little bit here, The pattern isn't so nice on the Dow, so maybe the Dow will find difficulty getting to a new high. So 1-to-1 is here, right in that gap. So the Dow hasn't filled the gap. So maybe Dow could go as high as 26,401. But the Dow might just find it a little bit difficult to make it to new highs. And the Nasdaq, I mean, I'll cover more of this in the newsletter on Saturday. Yeah, the Nasdaq is really struggling here. Everything's just making these ending diagonal wedgie sort of patterns. I mean, even right now it's selling off. So there are higher targets there. I think 7,680 is very, very optimistic, but just a matter of time. It's become very hard to count in real time on the Nasdaq. There was a triangle line here which it broke through, and you know, everyone's just waiting to load up on here. This has been a very good day trading vehicle the last couple of weeks or so, but it looks as though it might make one push higher, this being a 1, a 2, a 3 and a 4 on a slight push higher. Obviously most of the FANG has called it a day. Apple is what we're all watching. You can see there's some selling coming in now. It's not necessarily going to start rolling over just yet, but you can see how it's broken out of this wedge as well as this wedge. So the long-term wedge pattern on Apple actually dates back all the way back to 2012 or so. So everyone's going to start loading up here on the short side soon. But given the company, given the way it moves, you just got to make sure you're closing your shorts early. If you get caught offside, you don't want to be getting caught offside here. There is some sell volume coming in, but it's just retesting the bottom of this wedge. Today is a Tuesday, so it is printing a bit of a reversal candle here, but that might just be a continuation candle. If Apple does go higher, the highest targets I now have, having reworked my targets from here, because obviously now you've got to work quite short term, is anywhere between 226 and 234. But this is definitely not a time to be long. Everyone's looking at Apple for a short here, so this is, you want to really be watching this. This could start rolling over at any time here. If it starts breaking down back into this wedge and back into this long-term red line at 207, then we're going to start having some real issues, and the Nasdaq will very quickly become less than 7,000. So yeah, it's what I'm trying to say with Apple, watch it very, very carefully if you're looking for a trade on the short side. It might go higher. I've not ruled that out. It does look still quite bullish. It's not massive sell volume, but you can see there is some profit taking. This EMA on the daily appears to be tracking up, but really I can't see it going much higher than up here. So everyone's waiting to load up on the shorts. Obviously they have to dump these stocks one by one, yeah, so you can't dump them all at once. Facebook, you're not going to see 220 for over 6 months, so you can forget about that. You're not going to see that in a while. Google is still making lower highs and lower lows. Amazon is almost broken out of its trend. Netflix, yeah, you're not going to see 420 for over 12 months on Netflix, so you can forget about that. Twitter, you won't see 50 for a while. So you got to understand, you got to dump these markets one by one, and Apple was always going to be the last one that they chose to dump. So yeah, expect a lot of volatility coming the next couple of weeks. I mean, I think it might even happen as soon as the end of this month, frankly. So yeah, watch the DJT, watch the VIX, the inverted Qs, SQs. These are a good indicator as to where the money is sort of going, and you can see, despite the Nasdaq's feeble effort to go higher, this is still not wanting to go lower. The inverted Qs, people are clearly buying into here. That is all buying as far as I'm concerned. There's definitely buying in here, and you can see it more clearly on the 3-day here. Buying. There must have been buying in that candle, must have been buying, and now we got a low red volume sell-off. And you can see here there was a hammer almost confirmed. Now we've got an inside candle. if the Nasdaq was properly going to go higher, why aren't the inverted Qs selling off? So it's clear money's going into here, and they're getting ready for a big move up. So expect some fireworks pretty soon. So that's the Nasdaq. So as I said, I will be covering the Nasdaq more on my newsletter, and I will be covering the Dow to 40,000. So the long-term count on the Dow, which is very, very interesting, because I don't think we're actually done in this market yet. I think there is still some room to go higher. Yeah, okay, so let's go over. So Waves is going to cover gold on Saturday, which is great. Gold's been doing a lot of crazy moves. Bitcoin, so let's just finish off on Bitcoin here. I've not had a look at this chart. As I said to you guys a couple of weeks ago, nothing was ever going to happen after a big move down. So we were always going to get a doji week. So we've got a doji, now we've got an inside candle. So we're just forming contraction of price and volume here. So something big is going to happen very, very clearly. This amount of cause is going to end up one way. So the question is all of this just a wave 4 or some kind of flag pattern? So if that's the pole, is this some kind of pennant flag, and is it just a continuation pattern to go lower, or is it now building a rounded base with a cup and handle sort of thing? Then it's going to march higher. If 6,800 breaks with heavy volume, and that is a big if, then we could see a charge towards 7.4. The problem is, once again, I just think it's a little bit too risky. Knowing where the markets are going now, and we're going into September here, and knowing there's a market sell-off due pretty soon, it's very risky to be jumping into crypto thinking it's some kind of safe haven. I don't think the S&P and Bitcoin are correlated in that way. They are correlated in the sense that Bitcoin's leading the S&P, but they're not correlated. When an S&P sells off, that money goes into Bitcoin. They're not correlated in that way. And as you saw here, the Bitcoin sell-off started on 23rd of July, which if you have a look at the Bitcoin chart, you can figure out what the correlation is there, and that kind of worries me. So I'm just waiting for a break of 59 to then somehow jump back in and then pick up some cheap altcoins, but it's very risky at this time. I did a poll on my Twitter this morning, is there going to be a short squeeze, and everyone thinks that there will be, so which means that there probably won't be. So yeah, I'm still maintaining that the next big touch of this level, 57, 58, I don't think it's going to hold this time. So there's a lot of cores being built here. There's a lot of cores, and the shorts are going absolutely, wow, they are really increasing here. So we're pretty much at all-time highs. So let's see, do we get the short squeeze everyone's waiting for, or do we just go lower? Maybe the shorts are going up because Bitcoin's crap. How about that? How about that? Anyway, I'll leave it there. Good luck to you guys. So I still think it's a little bit too risky. None of these altcoins are properly moving. I think people are just profit taking. So yeah, expect fireworks across the board. Anyway, I'll leave that to you guys. So if you guys want to join, there's 5 spots left. We'll keep it to 10 for the time being, and then as we get feedback on the newsletter, we'll then be able to increase the spots and add more people to the list. So just go onto here. There's no crypto option as of right now, so if you're from the UK or the EU, click here, and if you're from any other country other than these 28 or 29 countries, I believe, 24, 25, 28 I think, then you sign up here. The price is the same, it's just for auditing purposes. Anyway, I'll leave that to you guys. Hopefully you guys who are signed up to the newsletter already, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that. I'm really hoping to get some kind of weekly update with that, so that'll be very, very useful, because I think the average person doesn't have a clue what's going on here, and you're going to see a lot of fireworks, unfortunately, if you're not already seeing them. Anyway, I'll catch you guys soon, and good luck in whatever you do.